All right, so let's stay with that story and welcome governance expert Professor Theo Venter. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. So the president confirmed, that water security is critical to economic growth, public health and dignity. And yet when you hear organizations like WaterCan saying that, parts of Gauteng resemble an infrastructure day zero scenario, with some residents, of course, without water for over 20 days. One wonders then just how serious this is being prioritized.
Yeah, you're quite right. I think water security and the way in which the president has referred to it in the State of the Nation address is an extended problem. South Africa, to start off with, is a water scarce country, but we have enough water. The difficulty is, and we've seen in your footage, and we can mention a few other places as well, it is poor management of the existing water. You see, if you've got a lack of resources, if you don't have enough water, then you must manage the water that you've got even more actively than normal. And I think that is what's missing. And the president went out of his way to explain the problem is that of maintenance, the problem is a lack of investment in infrastructure, and the problem is, broadly speaking, and we can see that in the Vaal River system that I know very well here in the town of municipality of JB Marks, where I am, that we have a wonderful flow of water from the Mooi River, but as the town is growing, the source will not be enough in future. So you will have to plan where things are going. And I think it's that water planning that is severely stressed out. And you've mentioned the district municipality. We know, according to the constitution and the rules of local government, district municipalities are responsible for bulk water supply. Yeah. And it is important that you add them in your program to explain what it is that they're doing, because they must provide the infrastructure for towns or villages to then distribute the water. And there's an important element of that if you don't invest in your infrastructure and if you don't maintain your infrastructure, then we will now reach the point that is very similar to the point that we reached with electricity 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, and trust me, Prof, we've had, those providers, those bulk water supplies on various programs here at the SABC. So just going back to the president's speech, I mean, he's announced now that 56 municipalities are facing legal action for failing to provide water. So at what point does this then stop being a service delivery failure? You've also said you can call it poor management because they're failing to manage existing water. At what point does it then become a constitutional crisis, especially when you hear, how tone deaf some of our leaders are in terms of their comments, just recently simplifying the impact of residents at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's already a constitutional crisis, because if government takes local government to court, then we're in the domain of a constitutional crisis. Let me give you an explanation about a system that I know very well. The sewage system in Parys, Ngwate, the municipality of Ngwate, is not functioning optimal. Therefore, raw sewage goes into the Vaal River, which means everybody downstream from Ngwate, which includes the JB Marks municipality, which includes several other, like Bloemhof, where we had problems previously, they are all exposed to the problems. So the issue is not only the management of the water that comes in, but it's also the management of the water that goes out. And I personally think national government, the Department of Water Affairs, provincial governments should intervene far more actively into these problems, because I don't think local governments that cause the problem, I don't think they've got the capacity to resolve the problem. Taking them to court is not going to help much.
Yeah. I mean, just your words, we are in the domain of a constitutional crisis. That in itself is huge and an indictment. So who then, Prof, ultimately carries that responsibility when the rights of South Africans are infringed upon in this manner, especially when you talk about court orders. I mean, we saw in that last clip, court orders seemingly being ignored by the state, as per that case in the Eastern Cape.
Let me say two things here. At its essence, local government is a business where you provide a service at a fee. So you provide water and somebody pays for the water. Now, if you can't pay, there are government grants that can help with paying for the water. But if you don't pay your water board then comes under pressure. If the water board comes under pressure, your bulk water supply comes under pressure. So you can see how the dominoes are falling, where it starts when the fees are not paid for water. So that's the one area. The other area is that we will have to start looking, and I know government is looking at it, that we'll have to relook the way in which we fund local government. Some towns and villages are not financially viable or sustainable. Poverty levels in the country means that people just cannot afford to pay this. So we must, in my view, we must intervene at local government level by making the management of local government a far more bigger priority. If you look at provinces and if you look at national, you've got good governance, you've got people well qualified. It seems to me that people enter government working for local government, and then they get promoted to provincial government, and then eventually get promoted to national government, leaving local governments with the weakest management profile of the three levels of government. And that's really where the most management skills must be, because that's where people see the government, where they see action and where they see services.
And that's a very important point, Prof, because we've had many experts here telling us that that is how you're supposed to do it. You have to put the best man on the job at local government level. We've seen other countries do it and win in that case. I want to just bring in this point. The South African Human Rights Commission has also now joined calls, for this crisis to be declared a national disaster. Just given the wide-scale failures that we're speaking of here, could South Africa face international human rights scrutiny further if these failures continue, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that will happen. But what will happen is that if people take notice of the fact that there's a problem with water, take, for instance, Standerton. In Standerton, the Astral company, the big chicken conglomerate, they had to provide water to Standerton for their own purpose. They had to get the water, but they can also then provide water to the citizens. And that is happening in several other places where investors are now looking, saying, listen, if small communities take government to the courts and to the Human Rights Commission, it means we can't invest in those areas because there's a lack of water. That's exactly what happened in Dietsebotla, Lichtenburg. A very well-known cheese factory moved because you cannot produce dairy if you don't have power and if you don't have water. Those two things absolutely go hand in hand. And we've seen in several cases that where the electricity shutoff takes place, the water pumps don't go. So you can see how these things are interlinked. And that's why I'm saying the level of management at local government must absolutely be prioritized.
Absolutely, Prof. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your views on this matter. Governance expert Professor Theo Venter saying there, amongst other things, that we are already in the domain of a constitutional crisis, speaking there about the water crisis across the country.